Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Mr. Kelly, your immigration analyst. This is a video that could keep you or someone you love out of an ICE detention facility. I am not exaggerating. What is happening at American airports right now is unlike anything we have seen in modern immigration enforcement history, and certain types of immigrants are in far more danger than others. On April 7, 2026, Reuters published an exclusive investigation revealing that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has arrested more than 800 people at U.S. airports based on tips provided directly by TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, through its Secure Flight Passenger Screening Program. According to the Reuters report, TSA flagged over 31,000 travelers to ICE for potential immigration enforcement since January 2025. Out of those 31,000 flags, more than 800 resulted in arrests. Let me say that again so it sinks in. TSA is actively sharing passenger data with ICE. When you buy a plane ticket, when you check in for a flight, when you go through a TSA security checkpoint, your name, your date of birth, and your travel information are being cross-referenced against immigration databases. If there is a match, if there is a flag on your record, ICE can be waiting for you at the gate, at the exit, or anywhere inside that airport. ICE agents are now permanently stationed at a minimum of 16 major U.S. airports, including Chicago O'Hare, Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson, JFK, Newark, Houston, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Francisco, Washington Dulles, LaGuardia, Cleveland, New Orleans, San Juan, Pittsburgh, and Southwest Florida. And the Department of Homeland Security has said that additional airports may be added to this list at any time without prior public notice. Since January 2025, ICE has arrested more than 146,000 immigrants with no criminal charges or convictions. That number comes from the Washington Post, published April 3, 2026. So the idea that ICE is only going after criminals is simply not supported by the data. People with no criminal record are being arrested. Now, in this environment, there are 4 specific types of immigrants who should seriously reconsider flying right now. If you fall into any of these 4 categories, this video could be the most important thing you watch this year. Let me walk you through each one. Type number 1. Undocumented immigrants. If you are living in the United States without legal immigration status, you should not be flying right now. Period. The risk is extremely high, and it has gotten dramatically worse in 2026. Here is why. Since May 7, 2025, TSA has been fully enforcing the Real ID Act. This means that every adult traveler, 18 years old and above, must present a Real ID-compliant driver's license or another acceptable form of identification to board a domestic flight. Standard state driver's licenses that are not Real ID compliant are no longer accepted at airport security checkpoints. For undocumented immigrants, this creates an immediate problem. Many undocumented individuals relied on non-Real ID state licenses or foreign passports to fly domestically. While a valid foreign passport is still an acceptable form of ID at TSA checkpoints, presenting a foreign passport with no valid U.S. visa stamp inside immediately identifies you as someone who may not have legal status. TSA officers are now trained to flag these situations. And here is the critical development. TSA is sharing this information with ICE. Reuters confirmed that TSA's secure flight system flagged 31,000 travelers for ICE review. If your name appears in any immigration enforcement database, if you have a prior deportation order, if you have an outstanding warrant, if you have overstayed your visa, or if you have no record of legal entry, that flag can trigger an ICE response. If you are undocumented and you absolutely must travel, immigration attorneys across the country are now advising clients to use ground transportation instead of flying. Take a bus, take a train, drive if you can. Airports are controlled federal environments where federal agents have broad authority. The risk of being identified, questioned, detained, and placed in removal proceedings is real, and it is growing every month. Additionally, If you are undocumented and ICE does approach you at any location, remember your 5 legal rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to ask, "Am I free to leave?" You have the right to request a lawyer. You should not physically resist. And you should try to document the encounter, including the officer's name, badge number, time, and location. Type number 2. Visa overstays and people with expired immigration status. This is a category that many people do not think about, but it is one of the highest risk groups right now. If you entered the United States on a valid visa, whether it was a tourist visa, a student visa, a work visa, or any other visa, and your authorized stay has expired, you are now technically out of status. Even if you overstayed by just a few days or a few weeks, you are considered a visa overstay in the immigration system. Why is this so dangerous at airports? Because when you purchased your original flight to enter the United States, your entry was recorded. When your authorized stay expired and you did not depart, that was recorded too. The biometric entry-exit system that CBP activated on December 26, 2025, now tracks every departure and arrival using facial recognition technology. If you never departed after your authorized stay ended, the system knows. When you now try to board a domestic flight and your identification is scanned, the TSA Secure Flight System can match your information against CBP and ICE databases. If your records show an overstay, that flag goes to ICE. This also applies to people whose DACA status is expired or at risk. If you had DACA and it has expired, or if the program's legal future is uncertain, flying creates an unnecessary risk of encountering ICE in a federal environment where your expired status could lead to detention. The same applies to individuals with expired TPS, temporary protected status. If your TPS has expired and you have not been granted an extension or another form of relief, you may no longer have valid work authorization or legal status. Flying in this situation puts you in an environment where your status can be checked and your lack of current authorization can be flagged. My advice for this group is very clear. If your visa has expired, if your status has lapsed, if your DACA or TPS is no longer active, do not fly unless you have consulted with an immigration attorney and they have confirmed that the risk is manageable. In most cases, they will tell you to avoid airports entirely. If you have an overstay, but you are in the process of adjusting your status, for example, if you have a pending I-485 or a pending asylum case, the situation is more nuanced. You may have certain protections. But those protections do not guarantee that you will not be questioned or detained at an airport. Carry all of your immigration documents with you, including your receipt notices, your I-797C, your EAD if you have one, and any court notices showing your pending case, and speak with your attorney before you book any flights. Type number 3. People with final deportation orders or prior removal orders. This is the single highest risk category. If you have a final order of removal, whether it was issued by an immigration judge or through an expedited removal process, and you are still in the United States, you are ICE's top priority. ICE internal data obtained by Reuters shows that the agency is specifically targeting individuals with outstanding removal orders at airports. TSA's secure flight system can identify passengers who have removal orders in the system. When a match is found, ICE agents who are already stationed at the airport can intercept the individual before they board their flight, when they exit the terminal, or even at the gate. Between January 2025 and February 2026, more than 800 arrests at airports were made exactly this way. And since ICE is now permanently deployed at more than 16 airports, the chances of being intercepted are higher than ever before. If you have a final deportation order, you should not be anywhere near an airport, not to fly, not to drop someone off, not to pick someone up. Airports are heavily surveilled federal zones with cameras, document checks, and now permanent ICE presence. Any contact with the airport environment creates a risk of identification and arrest. Instead, you should be talking to an immigration attorney immediately about whether you have any legal options to reopen your case file a motion to reconsider, or apply for any form of relief that might stop or delay your removal. Time is critical, and the window for action may be limited. There is another important detail that many people miss. Even if your deportation order is many years old, it does not expire. A final order of removal remains in effect indefinitely. If it was issued 10 years ago and you have been living quietly in the United States since then, that order is still active and enforceable. ICE can execute it at any time, and airports have become one of the primary locations where these older orders are being enforced. Type number 4. Green card holders with travel risks. Now, this may surprise some people. Green card holders are lawful permanent residents. They have legal status. They have the right to live and work in the United States permanently. So why would a green card holder be at risk at an airport? The answer is that certain green card holders are at significant risk, and the current enforcement environment has made that risk much more serious than it was a few years ago. The first risk factor is extended travel outside the United States. If you are a green card holder and you have been outside the country for more than 6 months, CBP may question whether you have abandoned your permanent residence. With the new biometric entry-exit system that went live on December 26, 2025, CBP now has automatic, real-time data on exactly how long every green card holder has been outside the country. If your departure and return records show an absence longer than 6 months, expect to be pulled into secondary inspection and questioned thoroughly. If you have been abroad for more than 1 year without a re-entry permit, CBP may determine that you have abandoned your green card entirely. And this is where the most dangerous situation arises. There are documented reports in 2026 of CBP officers at airports presenting green card holders with Form I-407. This is the record of abandonment of lawful permanent resident status. If you sign this form, you are voluntarily giving up your green card. Once signed, it is extremely difficult to undo. If a CBP officer ever asks you to sign Form I-407, do not sign it. You have the right to refuse. You have the right to request a hearing before an immigration judge. A CBP officer cannot force you to sign. If you refuse, they must issue you a notice to appear, which means your case goes before a judge, where you will have the opportunity to present evidence that you did not abandon your residence. The second risk factor for green card holders is criminal history. If you are a green card holder with any criminal conviction, even a minor one, even one from many years ago, you need to be extremely cautious about travel. Certain criminal offenses, including drug offenses, crimes of moral turpitude, aggravated felonies, and domestic violence convictions, can make a green card holder deportable. When you pass through an airport and your identification is scanned, your criminal history can appear in the system. CBP and ICE can use that information to initiate removal proceedings against you, even if you have been a permanent resident for decades. The third risk factor is having a pending immigration application. If you are a green card holder with a pending citizenship application, a pending waiver, or any other pending immigration matter, international travel can complicate your case. If you have a pending N-400 naturalization application, leaving the country could disrupt the continuous residence requirement or raise questions at your interview. My advice for green card holders is this: if you have been abroad for an extended period, if you have any criminal history, or if you have any pending immigration matter, consult with an immigration attorney before traveling, especially internationally. Carry all of your documents, including your green card, your passport, tax returns, bank statements, employment letters, and lease agreements. And never, ever sign Form I-407 without first speaking with a lawyer. Now let me give you 7 safety steps that every immigrant should follow if they must travel in April 2026. Number 1. Carry every single immigration document you have: your passport, your visa, your green card, your EAD, your I-797 receipt notices, your I-20 if you are a student, your court documents, everything. Keep originals with you and store digital copies in a secure cloud service that you can access from your phone. Number 2. Arrive at the airport at least 3 to 4 hours early. With ICE present at checkpoints and security lines, processing times can be longer. You do not want to be rushed or stressed during any encounter. Number 3. Know your 5 legal rights. The right to remain silent. The right to ask if you are free to leave. The right to request an attorney. The duty not to physically resist. The ability to document the encounter. Number 4. Do not volunteer any information about your immigration status to anyone at the airport unless required by law. TSA agents are required to check your identification, but they are not immigration officers. If an ICE agent approaches you, you have the right to remain silent and ask for a lawyer. Number 5. Never sign any document without reading it carefully and consulting an attorney. This is especially true for Form I-407 and any voluntary departure agreements. Once signed, these documents can permanently change your immigration status. Number 6. If you have any risk factors, such as an expired visa, an overstay, a criminal record, a deportation order, or extended travel as a green card holder, do not fly. Use ground transportation. Avoid airports entirely until you have spoken with a qualified immigration attorney. Number 7. Save an immigration attorney's phone number in your phone right now. If you are detained, the first call you should make is to your attorney. Share the attorney's contact information with a trusted family member or friend who can act on your behalf if you are unable to communicate. Here are the key numbers from today's video that you need to remember. More than 800 people arrested at airports based on TSA tips to ICE, confirmed by Reuters on April 7, 2026. Over 31,000 travelers flagged by TSA's secure flight system for ICE review. More than 146,000 immigrants with no criminal record arrested by ICE since January 2025. At least 16 airports with permanent ICE presence, and the list may expand at any time. 5 legal rights that every immigrant must memorize. And 1 form you should never sign without a lawyer, Form I-407. Let me also address one question I know many of you are thinking. Is it safe for U.S. citizens to fly right now? Yes. U.S. citizens have the constitutional right to travel freely within the United States. CBP and ICE cannot detain a U.S. citizen based on immigration status because citizens do not have an immigration status, they are citizens. However, I strongly recommend that all U.S. citizens carry their passport or their real ID-compliant driver's license when flying, because the document verification process at airports has become more rigorous for everyone. If you are a naturalized citizen, carrying your U.S. passport and your naturalization certificate provides the strongest proof of your citizenship. Do not rely solely on a driver's license, because a driver's license does not prove citizenship. The reality we are living in right now is that American airports have become dual-purpose facilities. They are transportation hubs, and they are immigration enforcement zones. TSA is sharing data with ICE. ICE is permanently stationed at more than 16 airports. Facial biometrics are being collected on every non-citizen who enters or exits the country. And the legal protections for certain groups are weaker than they have been in years. The 4 types of immigrants who should not travel right now are undocumented immigrants, visa overstays, and people with expired status, including expired DACA and TPS, anyone with a final deportation or removal order, and green card holders with extended absences, criminal history, or pending cases. If you fall into any of these categories, please take this seriously. 1 flight could change your entire life. 1 encounter at an airport could put you in a detention facility. 1 signature on a form you did not understand could end your legal status in the United States permanently. Stay informed, stay safe, and when in doubt, talk to a lawyer before you travel. I will continue covering every immigration enforcement development on this channel every single week so that you always have the most up-to-date information. If this video was important to you, hit the like button right now and share it with every immigrant you know. This information could save someone from making a dangerous mistake. Subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you worried about traveling right now? Have you seen ICE agents at your local airport? What category are you in? Let me know. I read every single comment. I am Mr. Kelly, your immigration analyst. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.